This is the Don't Hide the Scars podcast, presented by Pain, Parents and Addicts in Need. Welcome to Pain's Don't Hide the Scars podcast. I'm Jason LaChance, joined by the founder of Pain, Mr. Flindt Andersen. Looking good, my friend.
Thank you, sir. So are you. Yeah. It's that great time of year where all of wearing their sweaters and coats.
I love being able to wear sweatshirts indoors.
Yeah, other than, playing golf in it last week, it was a 2-day thing I had to be in. And I mean, it was just so cold. I mean, it's like you could barely swing the club. It was so cold. It was like 40 degrees and oh God, it was miserable.
I get a text from people. Did you hear about Flint? He froze on the golf course. Well,
Exactly.
I know he was happy.
Yeah, I was happy. That's where I went. That's
He,
right.
he had that charming, infectious grin on his face.
That's right.
Well, speaking of and around the holidays, a challenging time for many people. And I know for you and I, we both had a first holiday of sobriety. And so there's a lot of different things that can come up from folks. So I figured it's, important for you to and I to dive in there of the beautiful I get tos of having these sober holidays. And while saying that, also sticking to your plan to maintain it.
Yeah.
What were some of your first recollections of some of those first years? To quote my dad, I didn't know if I needed to shit or wind my watch sometimes. I was a little discombobulated because I had a good decade where, there was something snuck into the eggnog or, frequently going out, oh, I got to check on the roast on the grill. No, I was going back out to the cooler. That thing didn't need to be checked that much. So, for me, yeah, there was some I was a bit disorientated at first, but, quickly found my footing, being that my family, everybody remained alcohol free, which was a huge help. I don't have anybody in my family that does anything other than drink, and, somehow they can do this moderation of finishing half a cocktail and go, yeah, I'm good. I don't have that mechanism.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't have it. I gotta say my first one was probably pretty easy. It was the ones that followed that probably made it a little tougher because even though I got, clean in March, and the holidays didn't come until November. Um, for some reason that one was probably one of the easiest.
Mhm.
Um, because again, I was, what, 10 months clean and sober, or 9 months clean and sober, kind of on that roller coaster of goodness, and so I'm gonna show you, kind of a thing. And so that one I remember just wasn't that big of a deal. I just kind of wanted to show everybody, the 2 years that followed that was a little more difficult because now life had settled back in, things had come back to normal. I wasn't on the pink cloud, so to speak.
Mm.
Now I'm facing reality every day and hating it. And so of course during those times nothing would be better than to use something, you know, because that first year I was still learning things and in a good way. And the second, third year I was learning then how to deal with people. And I wasn't very good at that point. So again, that reach for something, that drink, that pill, that whatever, was more prevalent that second, third year.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think one of the things too around our support systems is it's important to remember us as the individual. We see ourselves and life in this long running narrative, right? Whereas others are observing our patterns. And I know for me it was kind of that. Okay, is he going to go out and check the damn roast on the grill again? Oh no, he's not doing it this year, So it takes a while for our support system to see that our patterns are changing, but probably, that second, third year, they're not even questioning it anymore either. And so they're like, you know, as life should return to normal, some of those pressures might be piled on. Maybe that first year, there's like, we're not going to talk about the gift giving aspect, or are you decorating the house? And we're doing Thanksgiving this year, so be prepared. We're going to have 20 people. All these things that can happen. We get kind of a grace period of sorts. I
Mhm.
find some people do. But then, like to your point, after that year, it's like back to living life, and it's all of a sudden, hey, here's the gift list, and then you're like, well, that's thousands of dollars if we did all, and then those stressors come into play, as well as the dynamics with other people and so on. Especially if maybe, I know for me that first year I took a break from certain people. My
Right.
parents great, my kids great, my brother, sister-in-law, my nephews great. Beyond that, I was like, I don't want to associate with anyone. New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised, top quality care with programs for detox and patient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living support groups, and more. New Perceptions North provides adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect in a safe, comfortable environment to begin the process of recovery to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction. Call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com.
I think more that for whatever reason, that second, third year, things just got a little. I was more cognitive. You're gonna have to edge that out. I was more aware of what I had done in the past, so to speak,
Hmm.
um, to make people feel whether uncomfortable, nervous, whatever the case. And, I've told the story 100 times of, how I used to go to, we would always be at a family member's house and would always be at the same house. And I would, go to this certain room and sit back there and just get zonked and, hang out there. And so those next 2, 3 years and even up to maybe, 5 or 6 years ago, I was very aware that I didn't go back there,
Hmm.
and if I did have to go back there to use a bathroom, if the other bathrooms were being used, I would make sure that somebody knew I was headed back there. I'd even ask my family members, hey, is it okay to use that back bathroom? And they'd go, well, yeah, why? And I'd go, I just wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
And then of course years later I told them, why I would ask you to use that, and they go, wow, we remember those days,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's again, if you're a long-term practicing user or addict, and all of a sudden now you're thrown into sobriety, so to speak, and you've got to do these things. Don't try changing everything at one time, because you can't.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do that. So just take it slow. Take it slow, change one thing at a time, change something, a couple things next year, a couple things the following year after that. And then eventually everything's going to be back to normal, you
Yeah.
know, just kind of the way it works.
How did you do like communicating of needs during that time? And the reason I ask is I was encouraged and I did create and stick to a plan, and a part of that was communication, which other than joking, I wasn't too good at with people. So I actually had to communicate some things. And it was a little uncomfortable. It was received well, but it was uncomfortable for me to do.
You mean the communication as far as letting them know?
Yeah, yeah. So, for example, sorry, I didn't clarify very well. I remember being like my brother and sister-in-law inviting me to something, and then saying, "Well, hey, would you be willing to drive us?" And I went, "No, I think I'm gonna drive myself, so I can leave at any time, and you're not on my schedule, and I can always come back and get you." Which, per my recollection, I did do in this setting.
Yeah.
It was at that point where it was clear to me people were getting a little bit tipsy, and the slurred speech, the repeated language, the very shallow conversations, and I needed to leave. So
Sure.
that was tough for me to communicate because along with the alcohol issues, I'm a recovering people pleaser. So I had to really change that about myself.
Yeah, see, I didn't care much because, and I'll tell you why. Because right from the very beginning, this was just me. I know a lot of people don't do this, and that's okay. Everybody's got to be them. But I just made it very clear to everybody, hey, I'm in recovery now. So this is the deal, you know. And if I left, I would tell my wife, you
Mm,
know, if I had to leave. I wouldn't make a big deal about it. I would just say, hey, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later. No problem. But I found out pretty early that I didn't do a whole lot of that
mm,
because again, I made it very clear. I'm in recovery. This is what it is. And my family accepted it so well, that there was never anything I had to really worry about. Nobody was judgmental. Nobody, I mean, they didn't do things in front of me. They did, and then there were times when they did. They just made it very comfortable. So I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff, and I was pretty blessed at having that with my family. Yeah.
yeah. Well, in the conversations we've had with people that have been through the doors of pain, and I'll ask from your standpoint, what are some of the things that you encourage as far as an individual forming a plan if they don't have that encouraging family?
Yeah. In fact, I dealt with this last week actually with a family, and I've got a very easy suggestion for those people. Not everybody's going to like it, that's for sure, but it's simply then don't go.
Mm,
It's always the person's right if they're having at their house whether they're going to have alcohol or not.
right.
It just is. I'm sorry, that's the way I am. And so that's what I tell people. It's like no matter what you do, you're going to irritate some people. If you make that statement, if you say no, we're not having alcohol, um, I don't care who it is, you're going to irritate somebody. Okay, and so you have to be ready to back that up, I
Mm,
guess,
mm,
and say, here's why
mm,
we're not having it. And by the way, you're not going to be able to drink in my home either. And so, again, my point is if somebody doesn't understand that, then you know me and you know my personality. It's like, then see ya, because I don't care.
yeah.
Okay. If you want to be part of this for right now, come on. Okay. We're willing to have you, but this has to be done. And I'm still a firm believer in that. I always will be for that first year or that first 2 years, whatever it is, because there does come a point, I'm sorry, there just does come a point when you can go somewhere, you can even have it at your home. It's not going to make a difference to you. It's not going to affect you. All these people in recovery that say, "Oh God, it's like the person that goes on the AA cruise ship."
Sure.
Okay, really, unless you just enjoy those people, but to go on it because there's no drinking after 20 years, all right, well, get a life, right? Because drinking is a part of our society. It is what happens. It doesn't matter where you go, restaurant, football game, baseball game, hell, sometimes a ballerina dance. Okay. I mean, somebody's drinking in there. Okay. But again, it's not going to phase you after a while.
Yeah.
If you're serious about your recovery, then okay, you know what? It's all right. Doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to if a restaurant has a great steak and there's a bar there. But do you think I'm not going to go get that great steak because there's a bar there? No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Just way I'm built.
Yep. Yeah, no, same. And granted, there might be other environments of other substances, but then again, that's a good time to do a reflection of, okay, what are these other substances there? And in most cases, why the hell would you go there in any setting at
In
all?
any setting. Right, right.
So,
Absolutely. Why would you even throw yourself into that mess?
yeah.
Why would you go to a certain location on a Saturday night knowing that there's every substance known to mankind that's there, that somebody's got something. All right. That's just being an idiot, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's having that greater awareness, right? Not putting yourself, you're not going to get better in the same place you got sick. And, that's,
That's a
that's it.
great way.
That's environments. Like, question the environment. Like,
Yeah,
one of the harsh realities of this too is there might be people, and you have to examine your level of caring about them and what it is, and their level of caring about you, where they might just end up becoming a no-go person in a no-go zones. And that happens. I've
happens
known a
all the time.
couple of people that it's like have asked me, well, I don't want to go to so and so's because I know then, Uncle so and Aunt so and so, they're going to be smoking weed and along with drinking. And it's like, well, okay, what does that make you think and feel right now? After sharing that, it's like, all right, you already know the decision is you're not going. Well, somebody might be mad. Well, welcome to it.
Who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah,
Who
yeah.
cares? They don't have to live your life.
No, no.
They're not the ones that are gonna, get saddled with this issue again.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they don't I don't know what their life would look like, and wasn't asking this person because I literally didn't care. I'm not helping them. I'm not talking with them, but it's like, where does it then lead you? Back out on the
Absolutely.
streets, back where you disappear, back where you lose the job that you fought so hard to get into a good position again. Like, take a look at your life. Where do you
Well,
want it to go?
that exactly, and that's why I've said in the past, take that brief picture of yourself when of you going to one of those places. Again, we think more in pictures than we can verbally quickly. So take those few pictures of you going to that place with everybody high, then take another picture of you taking something, and then take that final picture of what you're going to look like after you take that substance.
Hmm.
Okay, that's a great way to go, whoa, I ain't going.
Yeah.
Because if I do that, this is what I'm going to look like. You don't need to tell anybody that. You just need to do it to yourself. This is what I'm going to look like. And that is an unbelievable picture of ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, play
Yeah.
out the tape, right? Play out the
Lay
tape
out
of
the
the
tape.
movie. Yeah, what is scene two in this scenario? And think of
Absolutely.
how you actually because it'll invoke emotion real quick too. So if you picture that, like that's where I tell people, hey, write it down. What did you actually end up feeling, like physically and emotionally? And
Yeah.
if that's not enough to deter you, then we got a bigger problem.
Sure. But you can even take that picture of your family's face on after they found out you went there and you used.
Mm,
Take a picture of their faces.
yep. Yep.
Boy, that's about as powerful as it gets.
Spot on. Spot
Yeah.
on. Anything else you want to jump in and around this, Mr. Anderson?
No, again, we've just for the last few weeks, we've just kind of said, look, take care of yourself during this time. This can be a slippery slope for everyone. Um, and the good news is that you don't have to go down that slope anymore. There's nothing better than waking up on Christmas morning without a hangover.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than being able to be around your family and being clear-headed and thinking properly and being decent, you know, um, instead of going, oh God, I got to do something to make me feel better before I go over to Aunt Betty's house. Um, and be careful out there. Lot of Christmas parties now are starting to hit because obviously it's the 12th, and Christmas is right around the corner. So the weekend's here, the following weekend, and man, so just take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you fall, let somebody know. Let somebody know. And get back on that horse if you can,
Yeah.
because we need you. We don't want to lose anybody, because like you and I both know, today we're in the world where you can get lost in a heartbeat, and I mean death, and we don't want that, and we simply don't want that anymore.
Yes, sir. Yes. So stay the course before the opportunity to see what the gift of you is. Um,
Absolutely.
and yeah, it's just a lot of loving yourself and this opportunity. It's really being in a place of gratitude and stay in it. Stay in it. And of course, if you have any questions, want to speak with Flindt or any of it, paynnonprofit.org, you can go there. The phone number is listed there. Email, you can reach out. And if there's a loved one in help, don't hesitate to contact us. So
Right.
thank you for listening to the podcast, either on Apple Podcast or Spotify, where we'd appreciate a follow if it's your first time, and share it with someone else that you think will get value out of it. Or if you want to see our gorgeous faces, just go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@paynnonprofit, and you can watch all the Don't Hide the Scars podcast episodes there, where please hit that subscribe button and leave us some comments in the video. Maybe it's something you would like us to discuss around. We read them all, and we respond and act accordingly and create these episodes around a lot of the feedback. So thank you.